Hello, my dear children. I know. Exams are just around the corner, and the tension is building up. But don't you worry at all. Your favorite tutor is here, and together we are going to make this chapter an absolute cakewalk for you.
So today we're diving into a very special story by the master storyteller Gabriel Garcia Marquez. It's called I Sell My Dreams. A bit of a strange title, isn't it? But trust me, it's a beautiful, mysterious, and fascinating tale. Once we break it down together, piece by piece, you'll feel so confident for your exam. So are you ready? Let's begin.
Okay, so first up, a mysterious crash in Havana. You know, this story kicks off with a real bang. I mean, literally a bang. It's like the opening scene of some big dramatic movie, and it's all happening in Havana, the capital of Cuba.
Can you just picture this? Our narrator is sitting there, just having a peaceful breakfast in a fancy hotel called the Havana Riviera, when suddenly, out of the blue, a massive, gigantic wave just explodes out of the sea. And this wave is so powerful, it picks up a whole car and smashes it right into the side of the hotel. It's just completely unbelievable, something you'd think could never, ever happen.
So after all that chaos, they bring in a huge crane to pull the wrecked car out of the wall. And what they find inside? It's just heartbreaking. They find the body of a woman. She was the driver, and she's been terribly injured in the crash. It's a really, really sad and tragic discovery.
Now this is super important, Bacho, so listen very carefully. The police find one thing that can help identify her. It's a ring on her finger, a very special ring. It's made of gold, it's shaped like a snake, and it has tiny emeralds for eyes. Please remember this ring. Write it down if you have to. This serpent ring is the main clue, the key that unlocks the whole mystery of the story.
The moment our narrator sees this ring, bam! It's like a light bulb goes on in his head, and it takes him way, way back in time, 34 years ago, to a city called Vienna. So just like that, the story jumps into a flashback. We're leaving the car crash behind for a bit, and we're going to meet someone very, very special.
So who is this unforgettable woman from his past? Well, the narrator met her in a little cafe where students used to hang out. She was also from Colombia, just like him. Now, the story says she wasn't very pretty in the usual way, but there was something about her, something charming, something that just left you in awe. Nobody knew her real name. They just called her Frau Frieda. And when he asked her what she did for a living, what her job was, she gave the most mysterious answer: I sell my dreams.
Okay, quick pause. Before we go any further, we need to understand a very important idea. This is a top tip for your exams. It's called magical realism. This is the special style of our author. What it means is, he takes magical, fantastical things, like a woman who sells dreams for a living, and puts them in a normal, everyday world and treats them as if they're completely normal. It's like magic is just another part of reality. Got it? Good.
So, Section 3, A Dreamer's Power. This whole I sell my dreams thing, what does it even mean? Is she just being poetic, talking in riddles? Arre, not at all, bacho! Her dreams had real power, actual power. Let's find out just how powerful they really were.
You know, this special ability of hers started when she was just 7 years old. She had a dream that her little brother was washed away in a flood. She thought it was a warning about eating sweets. And so tragically, later on, he choked to death on a piece of caramel. So sad. When she grew up, a very rich family in Vienna actually hired her, and her only job, can you believe it, was to dream every night and then tell the family what to do the next day based on those dreams. And they listened. And then she had a dream about our narrator, and it was a very, very serious warning.
Okay, exam alert. Get your pens ready, bacho, because this is a question that comes up all the time in the exams, for 2 or 3 marks. Why did the author leave Vienna so suddenly and never go back?
The answer is simple, really. It was because of the sheer power of Frau Frieda's belief in her own dream. She came to him one night and told him, with such certainty in her voice, "You must leave right away and not come back to Vienna for 5 years." She was so serious, so convinced, that our narrator got scared. He packed his bags that very same night, caught the last train to Rome, and he never, ever went back to Vienna.
Okay, Bacho, let's move on. Now this next part, this is where things get really interesting, a little bit mind-bending, you could say. It's about a poet's paradox. Years later, our narrator meets Frau Frieda again, but this time, there's someone else with them, the world-famous poet, Pablo Neruda.
Now you have these two people, right? And they are polar opposites.
On one side, you have Frau Frieda, who believes her dreams can tell the future. And on the other, you have the great poet Pablo Neruda, who thinks all this dream stuff is complete nonsense. For him, only poetry could see into the future.
So get this. They're all having lunch, and Neruda is just eating, not looking around. But suddenly he says, without even turning his head, "You know, there's someone behind me who just won't stop staring at me." So the narrator looks, and guess who it is? 3 tables away, it's Frau Frieda, and she is staring right at the poet. Okay, so a little later, back at the narrator's house, Neruda decides he's going to take a nap, a siesta. And right here, Bacho, this is the moment where the story just flips into something truly magical and completely mind-bending. When Neruda wakes up, he says the most amazing thing. Remember, he's the one who doesn't believe in prophetic dreams. He says, "I dreamed that she was dreaming about me." How strange is that, right? But wait, it gets even stranger. Just a little while later, Frau Frieda tells them that she also took a little nap. And what did she dream about? You guessed it, she says the exact same thing. "I dreamed he was dreaming about me." Isn't that incredible? 2 people having the same impossible dream about each other at the same time. This is a perfect example of magical realism.
Chalo, let's get to the themes. This is super important, especially for those big 5-mark questions where you have to write a long answer. So listen carefully, let's break it down.
Okay, first, the power of belief. Ask yourself, was the magic really in her dreams, or was it because people believed in her dreams so much that they became powerful? Second, think about fate versus free will. Was she just seeing the future that was already written, or were her warnings actually changing the future? And finally, illusion versus reality. Was she a real prophet with a special gift, or was she just a very clever woman who found a unique way to survive in the world?
All right, we're almost at the end now in our final section, the final irony. Remember that car crash in Havana from the beginning? Well, we're going back there now. The flashback is over, and our narrator is pretty sure that the woman in the crash was his old friend, Frau Frieda, but he needs to be 100% sure.
So, months go by, and our narrator finally gets his chance. He's talking to the Portuguese ambassador, a man that Frau Frieda used to work for. And after the ambassador says some nice things about her, our narrator asks him a very simple, direct question. He says, "Tell me, in concrete terms, what did she actually do? What was her job?" And the ambassador's answer? Oh, it's just perfect. He replies, a little disappointed, "Nothing." And then he adds, "She dreamed." Do you see the irony, Bacho? Can you believe that? To this powerful, important man, her whole life's work, the thing that made her famous and rich, was just nothing. But for Frau Frieda, that nothing was her everything. It was her career, her identity, her whole life.
And so, the story leaves you with this one big, brilliant question to think about. What do you believe? Was Frau Frieda a genuine psychic with a supernatural gift, or was she just a super smart, resourceful woman who created this whole persona as a clever way to survive and do well in life? The author never tells us the answer. That's for you to decide. So think about it, form your own opinion, and you will be able to write a fantastic answer in your exam. All the best, my dear children. You are going to do wonderfully.